When did you flip a script at work? My boss made me clock out every time I answered a personal text or phone call, even if it was just 30 seconds. She'd literally watch our phones, and if she saw the screen light up, she'd march over and demand we clock out immediately, then clock back in when we were done. It was insane. When I first started working at the insurance office, nobody warned me about Linda's phone surveillance obsession. The job paid well, and I needed the health benefits after being laid off from my previous company. My first week seemed normal enough: training sessions, policy reviews, meeting clients. Then came my first personal interruption. My mom texted asking what time dinner was Sunday, and I quickly replied 6 p.m. Linda appeared at my desk like a hawk. "Sarah, I saw you on your phone. Company policy requires you to clock out for personal business." I thought she was joking, but she stood there waiting until I actually clocked out for literally 15 seconds, then clocked back in. My coworkers looked at me with pity in their eyes. Later, my desk neighbor Mike whispered, "She's been doing this for 3 years." Last month, Jenny got written up because her kid's school called about a fever, and she answered without clocking out first. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "And nobody's complained?" Mike shook his head. "Linda tracks everything. She has spreadsheets showing how much personal time everyone takes. She uses it during performance reviews to justify not giving raises." Over the next month, I watched grown adults ignore calls from their children's schools, decline calls from doctors' offices, and let family emergencies go to voicemail because they were terrified of Linda's clock-out policy. I saw my colleague David miss a call from his wife who was in labor because he was afraid to clock out during a busy period. Instead of just accepting it, I got strategic. During my lunch breaks, I started researching wage and hour laws at the local library. I discovered that employers cannot dock pay for brief personal interruptions that don't significantly impact work productivity. The Department of Labor specifically states that employers must pay for short periods of time when employees are not actively working but are still on duty. I also found out that creating a hostile work environment through excessive monitoring could constitute workplace harassment. I compiled all my research into a detailed report with legal citations and printed copies for everyone. Then one morning before Linda arrived, I placed a copy on every desk in the office with a note that said, "Know your rights regarding personal phone use and wage theft." When Linda discovered the papers, she went ballistic. "Who distributed this garbage?" she screamed during our morning meeting. "This is insubordination, and whoever did this will be terminated immediately." Nobody spoke, but I could see people reading the documents with interest. By noon, I received an email demanding my presence in Linda's office. My heart raced as I walked in to find Linda sitting with our HR director Janet and the district manager Robert, who I'd never met before. "Sarah," Linda began, her voice dripping with fake sweetness, "I have reason to believe you're behind the disruptive materials distributed this morning." I stayed calm. "What materials are you referring to specifically?" "Don't play games with me," she snapped. "The phone policy propaganda." Robert leaned forward. "Actually, I'd like to understand what phone policy we're discussing." Janet mentioned some concerns. I pulled out my folder. "For the past month, I've documented every time Linda has required employees to clock out for brief personal phone calls, including timestamps and duration. Most were under 30 seconds. I slid the folder across the table. "According to federal wage and hour laws, requiring employees to clock out for brief personal interruptions constitutes wage theft." Janet's face went pale as she reviewed my documentation. "You've been making employees clock out for 15-second text messages?" she asked Linda. Linda stammered about productivity and company policy, but couldn't cite any actual policy manual or legal justification. The next day, Robert called an emergency staff meeting. He announced that effective immediately, the phone monitoring and mandatory clock out policy was permanently discontinued.